To import your contacts and matters in the software, you want to click Contacts on top and click the Import button on the top right. The first step is to click the Excel icon. You can import, however, from your email if you like, but we do recommend Excel. And click here to download the template. This will give you an Excel template that looks just like this. So there's a lot of fields that we let you import from the get-go. Contact numbers, company names, first name, last name, email, phone number. I filled some information out already for us. And you also have, address, zip code, notes, and you have matter information as well. So if I could also add a matter that I'm working on for this contact, for example, Ruffalo versus Smith, I could add a matter number if I want. I could add notes to the matter. These are notes. I could add all this information to my matter. Now, really important if you're coming in from another software or if you've already done work for this contact is your balances. So you have your operating trust balance. So if the contact owes you money, for example, they owe you $1,000, your operating balance would be minus $1,000. This is how much money they owe you. If, however, they have $3,000 left in their trust account, you would add $3,000 here. Now, if you have a lot of extra fields that are not normal default fields in PracticePanther, you can add them in as custom fields. Now, you will see these are all the custom fields I've already made in the software. These are my contact custom fields and my matter custom fields. Now, I'm just going to jump back quickly to show you how to add custom fields in. First, I'm going to save this. So I go to my name in the top right and I click on settings. From here on the left, I click custom fields, and here's where I'm going to add all the custom fields I want to keep track of for the company, the contact, and the matter. So this is probably the most important step before importing everything. Add all your custom fields that you need to track, and then when you go to export and download the Excel spreadsheet, it will show you all the custom fields as you see here. So let's say I'm ready to import my spreadsheet. So the first step in importing your spreadsheet is to click Select File and find that Excel file on your computer and add it in. And the next step is to choose who it's assigned to. So all these contacts and matters that I'm importing in can be assigned to multiple people or someone else in the software. Now this is helpful if you plan on using security roles down the road to, let's say, block someone from being able to view all contacts and matters in the software. So let's say that I blocked Eitan, this person in my firm, from viewing all contacts and matters in the software. If I assign these to him, he will be able to see them that way. But generally, you don't need to do this. Okay? I'm going to click Upload File. And while that's going through, I'm going to take you through one more tip on the Excel sheet. Basically, if you have to add multiple matters for a contact. So let's say John, this guy over here, has multiple matters with me. What I want to do is copy all of his information again to the second row. Okay? And then I'm just going to go to the right and add the new matter information in. Ruffalo matter number 2. Okay? New notes. So that's how I add a second matter or a third matter for the same contact. You just want to copy all their information in again. Okay? Let's go back and let's see if it's done. Okay. So basically, this is the part of the import where we're going to link all the columns in Excel to columns in PracticePanther. Now, the neat thing is that if you use our import template, it will automatically match up the column headers based on the column headers in Excel. All right, so let's scroll down the list, make sure everything looks good. And it will give you sample information also, by the way. So it will show you the first row to make sure that everything looks good for you. And you can scroll down, it shows you the matter information, and everything is linked properly as you can see here. And now what you're going to notice is that all my custom fields are also automatically linked because the column headers in Excel match the columns in PracticePanther. Now, if you have a row in Excel or a column in Excel that didn't match up to PracticePanther, it's going to say none. So it will not be able to import this into PracticePanther. So what you're going to want to do, if you see anything that says none, is either just ignore it or go ahead, create that custom field, and then import this sheet again. Now, I do recommend clicking yes to send an update to tech support if you are working with someone in PracticePanther that can help you out. And you want to click Start Import. Now, generally, it takes about 1 to 3 hours to start importing your contacts. If you're importing thousands of contacts, it will obviously take longer. And if you have more than 1,000 contacts to import, we do recommend breaking it up into batches of 1,000. It will speed things up and make things easier. And if you had any errors, it will also show you the errors you had before going through the entire spreadsheet, which will take you a lot longer. All right, so once the import is done and submitted, you will get an email as soon as it's done with 3 attachments. One will include an Excel spreadsheet of your original import that you sent in. Another will be a success import, everything that was successfully imported into the software. And a third one will be there only if you have any errors. So it will only show you the columns and rows that had errors. So you could have, let's say, 200 contacts that got imported and 50 that had errors. So the good news is that you'll get an email letting you know you had 50 errors with the 50 errors on a spreadsheet, and you could just fix that spreadsheet and just re-import that spreadsheet alone. So you don't need to do the work again. Now, if you have any questions or any issues, or you mess up for any reason, or you're just like, I need someone to help me with this, just send us your import spreadsheet. We'll help you. So all you need to do is email us at help@practicepanther.com with what you need help with, or just email or contact your account manager and we'll help you out. If you do want to do it yourself and you messed up, for example, you can come to your contacts and matters page and click this box on the top, which will select all your contacts and matters, and then you want to click delete, and it will start deleting all of them so you can go from scratch. Now, I do have one big tip for you as well. Let's say you have your own Excel spreadsheet that looks like this. You have your name, number, and email, but our spreadsheet looks a little bit different, obviously. Ours looks like this. So what you want to do, instead of copying and pasting all your information to ours, what you could do is just take our header columns and put them on the top of yours. So phone number, and you can do something like this, which will save you a lot of time. Instead of copying all the information, pasting into ours, just take the column headers and put them in yours, and that will also work perfectly fine. You don't need to have any of the empty columns if you don't use them, and then just import this one. But once again, make sure you have all the custom fields you need already in PracticePanther so you can get the column headers correct. Now, one more tip. If you're coming from another software, they might give you multiple spreadsheets, a contact export, a matter export, notes, tasks, invoices export. What you want to look for is something that's consistent across the board on every spreadsheet that can be matched up. So for example, if you have the same contact name or contact number or a unique ID for every spreadsheet that links up together that matches up, we can do this for you by using something in Excel called VLOOKUP. So if you have anything like that, send it to us and we'll be happy to help you out. And the last thing we want to talk about are the typical errors you're going to be getting on your imports if you're doing them yourself. So let me pull up a few errors I can show you. So here's it right here. So this is one I just did right here. So this one says matter number 12. So it's going to give you, this is the Excel spreadsheet that's called import error. So the first row will be all the errors you got. So the first error says matter number 121212 already exists. Please enter a different account number. It means matter number. So this means that I've used either a contact or matter number that was already in the software, so it can't add it in obviously again. Now sometimes the errors are this easy to understand, and sometimes they're a little bit more complicated. Error updating Panther model account. Whenever you see something weird like that, just go through the whole row, the whole column, and see if you can find anything that could have caused this issue. The next one could be must be a maximum length of only 100 characters. This means that you had one of the columns here that was super long and way too long that needs to be shortened down to 100 characters, for example. Now, if your template didn't go through at all, that means that you probably didn't export your template as a CSV. So you want to make sure that the Excel is a CSV, not an XLS or anything else like that. Another quick tip, a lot of people confuse contact number for an actual phone number. This is not the phone number. You can only put phone numbers on contact home number, mobile number, or office number. So contact number is the number of the contact. It can only be numbers. It cannot be dashes. So you can't do something like this with dashes. You can't do something like this with letters. It cannot be letters. It can only be numbers. That's an important one. And if you have custom fields, and one of the custom fields is a date box. So for example, I know I have like a birthday at the end somewhere here. So let's say this one here, birthday, and it's a date box. It must be formatted like this: the month, the day, and the year with slashes, not dashes. Now, what we typically recommend when you're adding custom fields, you can just make them all text boxes or text fields. That will be the easiest way to remove all the data validation errors. So if it's a birthday or a date, it doesn't need to be a date field. You can just make it a text field in PracticePanther custom fields, and that will make sure that you will never have any data validation issues when importing. Now, while we're talking about custom fields, I'll mention another one. I'll just drag in the custom fields window here. So if you have a custom field that's required, that means that it must be filled out on the spreadsheet or it will not go through. The entire row will not go through. So let's say the birthday is required, but it's empty on the import. This row will not go through. I'll give you another little tip, actually, not really an error, but a tip. Let's say you have a company name called ABC Company, and you have multiple contacts in this company. So what you want to do is have the same company name and just put all the different contacts on each line. This will make sure that they all get added to the same company in PracticePanther. Another tip is in regards to tags. So let's go to our tags column over here. You can import multiple tags. So if someone came from Facebook, LinkedIn, Google Ads, you can import multiple tags as long as they're separated by a comma. So make sure it doesn't say, for example, BNI networking chapter, because what this will do will actually create two tags instead of one. If you're looking to make one tag, get rid of that comma. If you want two tags, separated by a comma. And one more thing while we're here is the matter status. The status can only be open, pending, or closed. It cannot be anything else. Now I'm going to go back and touch base again on the matter number. So for those people who want the contact or matter number to have dashes or letters, what you can do is just create a custom field called a different, contact number, matter number. Just create a different custom field, and that's what it will be called. And then you can do that. And if you want to keep track of a date, like for example, the statute of limitation date, we do have this in PracticePanther, but it cannot be imported. So just create a custom field called statute of limitation date. We didn't mention this before, but it's super important to mention importing balances. So what you want to do, if someone owes you money, you want to search for the column header called flat. And you're going to find this right here, matter flat rate amount. So if someone owes you, let's say $1,000, you have a previous balance from another software, you want to use this column header, flat rate amount. Now what this is going to do, it's going to create a matter for you, and it's going to add the flat rate to that matter. So if they owe you $1,000, the flat rate will be $1,000. Once you import all of these matters into PracticePanther, what you're going to do, I could actually show you real quick, is you're going to go to New on top and select Invoice and select Multiple Invoices, and it will show you all the matters you have with billable items. For example, all the flat rates, and you're going to bill all of these in one shot. It's going to create all these invoices. Now, you're not going to send these invoices to your client yet unless you really want to, but the most important thing you want to check off is this box down here, which will add any other unpaid balances to this invoice, and then you're going to create the invoices. Now, once you do that, let's just X out of this. The next time you go to invoice your customer, there's something called carry forward balances that I'm going to show you real quick. So the very bottom of the invoice, the next time you're invoicing your customer, you can click add all unpaid balances to this invoice, and what that will do, it will add your flat rate you just imported, it will add any billable time entries or expenses, so it will combine everything, the money they owe you from before with the money they owe you now and going forward for time entries and expenses. So that's what you want to do, and it will combine all the money they owe you into one invoice. And that's how you import your balances from a previous software. And the last tip I have for you is if you are coming from a Mac or you have all your information in a Mac address book everything's going to be a vCard. So you want to search Google for vCard to CSV. And you want to go to this link. It's actually the first one. Online vCard converted by Brotherly Labs. This is open source. You choose your file, your vCard. You select the format CSV. You want to do semicolon. You want to add a header line. And you want to leave everything else blank. That's fine. And then you're going to click convert. Now this will give you another file that will convert everything from your Mac address book, your Apple address book, to a CSV file, and then you can work on that file. That's a little tip for you. And if you want, you could even download the scripts. You could run it yourself locally, so it doesn't have to go through this website if you don't want it to. But the most important part is that we are here to help you. We have an entire migration team that is here to help. So please, we really urge you to not try doing this yourself. It is advanced. We don't want you getting frustrated. Just contact us and we'll help you out. If it's very simple, it shouldn't take very long for us to do. Contact your account manager, email help@practicepanther.com, or just click here on this page to submit a support request. All right, enjoy, good luck.